First of all, Ethernet and IP networks, which are prevalent in common business environments, right? They are prone to these two fundamental attacks: sniffing and spoofing of network traffic. Okay, what is it, and how one is different from another? The latter is basically very simple. Sniffing is just listening to what happens either around you or what is passing through you, through your machine, right? So just capturing the network traffic that you have access to as a result of your position on the network or as a result of actual spoofing. Okay, and spoofing is somehow tampering with the protocol configurations on other hosts. Okay, so let's say you want everyone on your local network believe that you are their default gateway. Okay, and you want your default gateway, which you share between you and all your neighbors on this segment, believe that you actually represent all your other neighbors on the network. So in this situation, if you achieve that, this condition will let you basically pass all the traffic in the network through you, which is not a very good idea when the traffic amount is large, but for a few hosts of most interest you can do that. Okay, you cannot do it separately for separate protocols to spoof and pass through the traffic. You just do it for all the traffic that you could possibly observe, and in the end you have to deal with all that data. But let's stay with this for some more. So what is sniffing? Sniffing can be done either passively or actively. Passive means that you are just listening to what you get. Okay, so as a normal, legitimate, law-abiding member of the network, you just raise an interface and get everything you can. Okay, so this is just passively snooping on your own interface and not doing anything even slightly malicious. Okay, and active sniffing means that you receive the traffic that is not intended to you directly. Okay, so for that you have to either have access to some network equipment, for example to a gateway or to a router or to a switch, yeah, and then somehow mirror all the traffic or the portion of the traffic, say at a specific port, yeah, on a switch, to somewhere else, and there run some interception software, some sniffer that will do all this traffic collection and either analyze it on the fly or just save it for further processing into PCAP files. Okay, so we save captured traffic into CAP or PCAP files. And the bad thing about that is it can be done virtually anywhere. Okay, so all these different types of gateways, firewalls, switches, routers, and all basically any equipment that has an Ethernet interface, or in fact any interface, yeah, any network interface, can, if attacker has access to it, can provide the attacker with the capabilities to sniff everything. Okay, so you can filter from that. Many sniffers just allow you to capture specific traffic, just to pinpoint the types of protocols within all the amount of traffic you get, and save only this. But physically you have access to everything. Yeah, of course, this may sound distressful, right? So you just can make an experiment yourself. You just take traceroute, the command we have discussed in the previous section, right? And you just take it and put, I don't know, maybe google.com into the command line, right, beside it. So you will have that the trace to google.com lies through a lot of different hosts. Yeah, so all of them are most probably gateways, routers that connect you and the network where Google servers reside in. Okay, so you should understand clearly that at any point in this traceroute output, there could be a potential malicious implant or living attacker, living being who controls that equipment, who can intercept your traffic. Okay, and this is relevant for any network communication in the internet. You should clearly understand that. And what is done on the positive, on the defensive side of this problem, of course, it is mitigated by crypto. Okay, so everything we can do is basically take two peers of network communication, agree on some form of encryption, exchange the keys in secret, yeah, and then encrypt that, right? So everything that is sent is first encrypted, and only in the end, only the legitimate recipient has access to the key material that allows him to decrypt the contents of the message, and vice versa. So crypto is all about that, mathematically proven models and tools that allow us to circumvent this inherent insecurity of the media we are using. Okay, there is basically no analogy to that in the real world as we knew it before the internet, right? So we cannot just sit in a nice corner where no one can see and hear us and do that and communicate in an ephemeral way, right? So everything we pass through the internet is reflected somewhere in the logs, maybe in the pickups that malicious attackers or oppressive state regimes collect on us. So all we can do is use math, encrypt everything end to end. Okay, and what are various qualities of spoofing as a process that I want to emphasize right here in the beginning? So spoofing basically is just abusing this stage of the protocol, the Ethernet protocol in this particular case, that is aimed at giving everyone on the network the names. Okay, so in the beginning, everyone has just these MAC addresses that are virtually unique for everyone, for every physical interface or virtual interface. So for every interface node on the network, we have like MAC addresses that are assumed to be unique. So what does a host that wants to communicate to another host do? They just send broadcasts, so-called broadcasts. Yeah, and this segment in the network that is having the same media, it's called a broadcast domain, in other words, right? So they're just sending out, I don't know, Alice, let's say Alice wants to establish a link with Bob, and she asks everyone, are you Bob? So they're just sending the broadcast, who is Bob? And Bob, normally, yeah, he should answer to her, hey Alice, I'm here, my name is Bob, and this is my MAC address, let's proceed our communications. But there is no guarantee that he will do that first. Okay, so that he will be the first that Alice will receive the answer from. Okay, and Alice, by design, will believe the first answer she gets and disregard any other data that follows. Okay, so this is the main insecurity, the main vulnerability the flaw in the design of Ethernet that makes spoofing possible. Yeah, ARP spoofing in this particular case. So yeah, what happens then? Alice is sending everything to the attacker. Attacker is sending everything to Bob, pretending he or she is Alice. Okay, and Bob responds, and this is basically called the man-in-the-middle attack. Everyone is spoofed, and the traffic is going through attacker's computer and is effectively sniffed. And if that's required by attacker's agenda, right, the traffic can be also tampered with. Okay, so some changes might occur as these substitutes of addresses that I just described, for example. Okay, so as you might already see, if the strong crypto is used in this situation, spoofing basically doesn't give an attacker an advantage in terms of confidentiality, right? So he can tamper with traffic and cause a whole lot of trouble, but he cannot sniff anything. So everything will pass through encrypted, and unless he was there from the very beginning and somehow circumvented the security of cryptographic protocol used to establish this trust, yeah, to exchange key material, generate session keys, blah blah blah, he won't be able to extract the data, okay, to extract the clear text data encrypted in the communication. So this is another point why using crypto. It protects us from the implication of spoofing as well. What we as attackers can do, first of all, we have to know all these tools that allow us to do that. Here in this video we will shortly highlight most of them, most of good ones, I mean, and then we will have a demo of the best ones, right? The most handy ones that I personally recommend and that have a really good image in the industry. Okay, so other ways to prevent all this stuff, spoofing and sniffing and so on, is to do port security configurations on switch ports, sign traffic, and verify everything that comes to the server from the clients. And TLS SSL is of course one of the most common means of protection against these kinds of attacks. But let's leave it for now because we are here for offensive reasons, right? So let's proceed with getting familiar with the tools.